This Handybook is themed around teams. And we have a cover here. The best cover for one of these early 2004, 2005 Handybooks. This is Wallace Gromit art. And the cover features the Thunderbirds, the Defenders, and the Power Patch Kids. And they are all interacting with each other, just like on your beloved DC Handybook covers. Wallace Gromit was also doing new Thunderbirds at the time, so even the Handybook videos cannot get out from under my new Thunderbirds agenda. So this is Teams 2005. How do we feel about that? I think there is some actual appeal in doing an A to Z of just the teams. That makes a lot of sense. Have the team profiles and not mixed in with characters. Here is the credits. I always try to show these because they are the unsung heroes of the Tom Brevoort Age of Marvel. These were the ones who approached the comics with the same mentality of continuity being important. Something Tom Brevoort considers not to be a valid take, and something that still haunts Marvel. This was what Tom Brevoort preferred. Given carte blanche to a clueless, bald-headed buffoon at the expense of every other creator at Marvel. As good as a team's Handybook could be, with the revamped Handybooks, the team profiles were the one type of profile they never mastered. I think it was ultimately impossible to ever top the original profiles. You know, the ones with the heads of all the members. Another problem we have is that these profiles only depict the current team. And you have something like Alpha Strike here. This was a team that lasted 12 issues, which was about 11 issues too many. It is a real shit show to not have any image reflecting the members everyone knows. Northman and Warwick Davis and Aurora Borealis. To get back to dissing Tom Brevoort, the Avengers profiles have always been a major bone of contention for me. I've said before, what we have here will remain unchanged. In 1998, Tom Brevoort and Kurt Busiek, mainly Kurt Busiek, they did up a list of Avengers, and their decisions, which were not founded on actual research, but by looking at covers and their own nostalgic memories. Those incorrect deliberations have remained canon for nearly 30 years. And I can point you to, and I have pointed you to, explicit references regarding Captain Marbles, the real one, Marvel, being a member before they say so, and the same with Yellow Flash and dozens of others. In fact, here you go and watch that video. Just realised, if I had said Michael Bryan Benson instead of bald-headed buffoon, you would have a complete set of the 3 Bs. And we're not even up to the Bs in this yet. Interesting side note, the art here is coincidentally by the guy who will become the regular artist for the Handybooks. Back then, they were still loving Sally LaRue, and thought Sally LaRue was the one to keep using art from. Another team badly served by the lack of representation of the previous iterations, especially when you consider this version was only in 4 issues, and 2 of them defected in those 4 issues. We do have a tiny, and I mean really tiny, Jason Byrne picture of Mistake, the Smurf Woman squad, but absolutely none of Mr. Magnets' original group. One of my least favourite Marvel teams here. Most my feelings about the new Defenders apply here. I don't much care for a team that is existing purely as a dumping ground for out-of-work characters they want to keep in place somehow, even if you have them fight Nazi B-men. I reckon if you only read Handybooks, you would think that this Black Star team were like a big deal. You wouldn't think that they were nearly all killed off panel. Obviously, I want to grumble here about Defenders, but these team profiles in general just weren't very well executed. There is a bunch of mistakes in the list of members, and we don't get images of any but the big 4. Euro Force Kong Sun tests. Excalibur. Some guy, some clown, kept commenting on my Excalibur videos, saying I was pronouncing their name wrong. What a weirdo. There is an E before the X. It is Excalibur. I will point out that they show this picture here of the more recent Excalibur with Darth Knight. So for this profile, I think they have done it right. They have shown a picture of the original team and then the most recent one. I am pointing this out because I am complaining about them not doing that on almost every other profile. A profile for the XLs. And this reminds me, who wants me to look at maybe the worst Marvel Handybook ever made next? And Fantastic Farce. A Fantastic Force team for the 90s. They were Tom Beevort. Tom Beevort wrote comics in the 90s, and they are atrocious. They only did a comic called Fantastic Farce because they thought it would sell because of Excellent Force. Another problem with Tom Beevort is that he brings talented people down to his level. Fuck it, he even brings dead people down to his level. Every now and again, I find summit by Tom Beevort or Kurt Busey or some cretin, and I really want to do a video deconstructing and pointing out all the follies and insecurities in them. But I always think I am better than that. It's West Coast Avengers. This is what they are. This is what they will be. And any editor who thinks the Avengers are embarrassing and the name Force Works isn't, is almost as useless as Tom Beevort. Another team not served very well by the sole picture being a short-lived modern iteration. And then over here we have an annoying profile because it shows a clear lack of consistency. Why wouldn't this just be a picture of the John Ostrich team? Why have the original double act? And moreover, why is the picture with less characters and less detail the big one, while the one with a lot happening is smaller? Also, the smaller one as both the characters featured in the other picture, so the first one is redundant. Legion of Superheroes. Don't know where this picture comes from. It is by Josie Landiron. Anyone know where that originates? A profile for Affinity Guard. This is, by the standards of this Handybook, a decent profile. Knights of Penzance in their ugly David Allen's redesigns. The Leather Legion. Another one where they have shown the original instead of the recent. Same with Masters of Evil. We only have a picture of the original version instead of any of the others. Lack of consistency is something that, if you've even watched 2 of me videos, you know is like my biggest pet peeve. If things were consistent, if this was all pictures of the most recent versions or the original versions, I wouldn't be complaining. I would say it was unfortunate and a bit unhelpful considering some of the original teams have massive histories compared to the current roster who were only in 3 issues, or vice versa. This is a composite picture and it still doesn't include all of them. Mice Tech from Marvel UK. They first appeared in Warheads. Didn't know that. I should review that already. I need to find some more weird fan art of that Cenobite though. I'll tell you what else bothers me. When one of you, and yes, I am thinking of specifically one of you, will say, I've never even heard of these characters before. Of course you haven't. You've not touched a comic since Reaganomics. Why would you have heard of the quite decent influx of muty students in the wake of Van Morrison's run on Excellent Men? This is a picture that you put together with 9 trading cards in the 90s. And using it here is stupid because one of those 9 features a bad guy. Thunderballs member Harriet, top right. Oh, also, this was neither the original nor the most recent lineup for the New Warriors. Power Patch Kids. They are so cute and adorable. Confession time. I, still to this day, have never read a single comic with this team. I know one of them is a goth, pictured here, and one of them is a raptor, not pictured here. That is the extent of my knowledge. Serpent League of America, the art coming from Robert Kirkham's short run. I get the feeling that this art maybe comes from a cover to a non-canon all ages Spider-Man title. And also, shouldn't it be a profile for the Insidious 12, since that is the current team? It's the Thunderballs. Not a bad profile overall. Lack of pictures aside, I do think this covers their history in a decent way. The Soviet Super Soldier Boys. And there's a comic that the art comes from. This has been on my review pile for so fucking long, and I don't think I will ever get around to it. Extra factors. The Flash is always done dirty whenever it comes to pictures of this extra factors. Excellent Force. This was the hysterically bad 2004 version. Robert Liefeldman's triumphant return to Excellent Force, where he reused unfinished art he did for an unrelated graphic novel, like when Ridley Scott used footage from Legends in the director's cut of Blade Runner. Excellent men, neat picture of them, got a lot of members in, and that is better than most of these. They brought this team back, and I shit you not, they are called the Excellent. That is exactly how I spell it whenever I write it down. My videos calling them the Excellent Men and Excellent Force came first. I don't think I have any ground to say that they were inspired by me, but it is one happy fucking coincidence. Oh, also, this image is interesting because it is... No, wait, it's not. There were a few variations on this image with different lineups. I thought they had one that they didn't use in this, but I think that is the real one. The indexes that they stopped doing. Here's the Tom Bevoort blog post again. List of profiles on the back here. I don't think this is at all a perfect volume. It's pretty bad even. But I think our idea here is strong. A compendium of the teams. That's what I think could work here. Rather than ask who is your favourite, I am asking what is your favourite major team from Marvel Comics that did not receive a profile in a West Coast Avengers is a possibility. But they, and stuff like the New Avengers, have always been brushed into the one Avengers profile. And you also had Force Works anyway, so I don't know if West Coast Avengers counts as an answer. Oh shit, we didn't have Fantastic Force. Well, we had Fantastic Force, we just didn't have Fantastic Force. I think maybe the logic is that there is a Handybook for Fantastic Force. But there was also an Avengers one, and an Excellent Men one. And we got the Frightening Force in here. That is very peculiar. Galactical Guardians, I guess you could say they are missing too, even if they weren't that popular back then. Invaders. And who could forget the Vid kids? I imagine Fantastic Force or Invaders are your favourite team, not included in here, so I give this 7 thumbs up.